I have never seen a character so misunderstood, mischaracterized as Yuji in Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo chapter 20. People have really just failed to understand Yuji, and I'm seeing character assassinations on him and complete misunderstandings of his character fly around on social media right now. Originally, I was going to make a power scaling video about why people are wrong about Yuji's scaling, but honestly, I think this may even be more important, and tomorrow I'll have the power scaling video out, because people do not understand what Yuji is saying in this chapter. People think Yuji is a bad guy, Yuji is wrong, Yuji is evil, Yuji is misunderstanding his sensei's words, and it is so bad, it is just blown out of proportion to the point of people just butchering Yuji's character. Like, there's no other way to say it. So let's just start. Be sure to leave a like on the video, it does help out, it pushes out. Thank you very much if you do, and of course, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for a ton of consistent and quality Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo content like this. If you love JJK Modulo, I promise you, you're not gonna subscribing at all, because I post almost every day JJK Modulo content. But without further ado, let's begin. And it's pretty interesting because usually when something like this happens, it tends to be because of the leaks, right? The leaks are bad translations, and it's all because of the leaks that a character is misunderstood, and that actually is pretty normal. Like, that tends to happen quite often, like more often than you'd believe. But it's interesting, this time it's because of the officials, it's because of the actual translations. So when the TCB and Viz came out, that's when this started to become a problem, because then people saw the actual translations. And I have both the Viz and the TCB, but I will be relying on the TCB specifically for this. Although the translations in both cases are exactly the same, it makes no difference in terms of the core of what I'm trying to say, but TCB does seem to be more accurate. So in any case, this is not going to be talking about the power scaling aspect, because I actually think that warrants a whole video in and of itself, honestly, because I've made videos about Yuji being strong, but now I'm seeing some people not understand how strong he is. But this is more so about the character aspect. So first we'll start off with after he hit the black flash on that bum Sumerian sorcerer. Yuji says, "Yo, you there?" And it's pretty interesting, but in the actual raw Japanese, he says Nisa, which is a cute way to address somebody as older brother or just someone who's older. Like, often you can see kids say that to an older guy, and it seems like Yuji is saying it to this guy more of a whimsical way, because obviously Yuji is in his 80s, so calling the guy in a suit Nissan, it's more half serious, half joking, and it shows Yuji's character is still a lot about comedy. He's still a friendly guy, and you'll see this as we go on, because in this chapter he says, I mean, wouldn't it be unfair if I knocked out only the aliens, right? And in another time, Yuji also says, well, he's laughing when the guy says, I'll never forgive you. He says, well, perhaps that'll reduce my loneliness a bit. The point being is Yuji is not only completely stable in his mind, but he's not some dark and evil, gritty character like for some reason people are portraying him out to be. Like, it is just a horrible assassination attempt on his character, because Yuji is still the fun-loving guy. Yes, there's a lot of elements of depression, and he does seem pretty sad and lonely. That's definitely for sure, and he seems older, but he's not this nihilistic, the world is evil, the world is destroyed, like nothing matters at all, like people are making him out to be. I mean, we even had the extra Jujutsu scroll in this chapter that's canon of Yuji smiling and just gambling away in a pachinko parlor. But anyway, I'll just continue reading it, right? Yuji says, I kind of roughed up all the sorcerers in the building, but they should be fine. And he says, you know, it'll be like you're recovering from a bad cold. And he says, you can let everybody know it'll take 2 to 3 days of rest. But Mino's very angry. He just screams, what the hell are you doing, Itadori Yuji? And then Yuji replies, I guess he is answering literally in this case, because he thinks, oh, is he literally saying what am I doing? Yuji says, I mean, wouldn't it be unfair if I knocked out only the aliens? Which is funny, because first of all, it is a comedic aspect of it. You know, he's still cheek-tongued, very funny guy, but it also shows some political side to it. Like, Yuji isn't trying to make any more political strife or any political turmoil. He actually wants to be pretty fair, and even it shows us Yuji is not necessarily just aligned with humanity. He's actually just on the side of what's right. Even the way he's thinking, it's not like he just knocked out the aliens, you know, because he says, you know, I'm human, fuck all the aliens. Like, no, he knocks them both out, and he's thinking about what's fair and right. So Yuji, as I've talked about in other videos, and as I predicted about a few months ago, honestly, I made a video on this 3 months ago saying he's going to be the Kalyan god, the mediator between the two. It seems like he really is taking up that role. But Mino-san screams, I don't care about that. Why show up now after all this time? Due to your absence, Yuka-chan was, and this right here, this next page, is the greatest assassination of Yuji's character from other people's point of view, because they don't understand what Yuji is saying. Yuji says, I don't care. And it's interesting to say, but in the Japanese, both when he spoke to Iorio Kotsu 16 years in the past and even now, he is actually saying it in the exact same way Sukuna says, I don't care. Like, the exact same way, which is a very specific way. But Mino says, what? Yuji says, I don't care about being Itadori Yuji anymore. Exactly the same thing that Gojo told Yuji in the final chapter in 271. Like, it's a one-for-one exact copy of the alliance. And people are misunderstanding this. People are saying Yuji took Gojo's lesson wrong, Yuji is mislearning from Gojo. I'll continue to read this, but that's just not true. Mino is confused. He's even got a question mark bubble on him, and he says, what, huh? And Yuji says, Varens don't die, they wither away with time, you know? No need to fret, I'll handle the curses that are escaping Tokyo. This is very important, but Yuji says, if Senpai's grandkid took a beating, I'll clean up after. This isn't saying if Yuka dies. He's literally saying if she loses, I'll clean up after her. This is important. Had Yuji said, if she dies, like, I'll defeat Dabura, that would have been completely different. He says, you know, if she just takes a beating, if she loses, I'll defeat Dabura in that case. And specifically the line he uses, I'll clean up after them, this does make me believe that he isn't gonna let her die. And there's very important aspects to this, but again, I'm almost done reading all this and I'll get into all of it now. To finish it off, he says, I just need to make sure nobody tries to get in the way of those two, those four, which again, incredible character development from Yuji. The guy says, I'll never forgive you, I'll never forget you. Yuji says, haha, well, perhaps that'll reduce my loneliness a bit. That's the right choice, isn't it, sensei? And basically, so in case you guys are watching this and you're confused, like, where is the character assassination attempt? What are people saying? People are saying that Yuji completely misunderstood Gojo's words, and there's memes going around that he's letting 16-year-old teenagers die and basically letting the next generation handle this while he just sits back and does nothing. And I just think it's wrong. People are really not understanding the point of what Yuji's doing. This fight with Dabura, this fight with Tsurugi and Maru, these things needed to happen for everybody to grow. That's why Yuji's saying specifically, I made to make sure that nobody gets in the way of those four. He knows that this is necessary growth for all of them. Just look at how much Dabura has changed. Look at how much Tsurugi has grown, or Maru has grown. Like, do you really think Maru and Tsurugi would have just become friends had Yuji came and just resolved it all by himself? Like, no. If he had just come in, one-shot Maru, one-shot Tsurugi, or just one-shot Maru, do you think that would have resolved the tension and conflict between Tsurugi and Maru? No. I think this needed to happen between Tsurugi and Maru for them to have a understanding of each other after their fight. And even more so, I actually think this is just very important that Yuji gives a chance for the next generation to actually try and resolve things. Yuji isn't saying, I'll leave it up to them and if they all die, then, you know, I'll step in at that point. I don't think Yuji's gonna let them die. There is no indication that Yuji said, you know, if they die, I'll come in. He specifically says, if she takes a beating, I'll clean up after. That's all. And another note is Yuji is not going to the reason that Yuka dies. If Yuji ends up saving Yuka with some insane shrine that cuts the cancer inside of her, or godlike blood manipulation that is able to just heal and destroy the cancerous cells, that he's able to use his own blood manipulation on others, like if he does something insane like that, like he puts his blood into Yuka's and that way he uses his own blood to destroy the cancerous blood or cells in Yuka, like I don't know, something crazy, then fair enough. Like at that point, Yuji's completely fine. That would mean that he actually saved Yuka's life. But Yuji is just giving the next generation a chance to fight and grow. That doesn't mean he's going to let them die. And like I said before, if Yuka dies, that is not related to Yuji. She was going to die anyway of her cancer. Like had Yuji fought Dabura today instead of Yuka, Yuka still would have died. Like she still would have died due to a cancer, like probably within the next few days, if not today. That doesn't have anything to do with you. So it's so important I say this. Yuka's end result is not because of Yuji. Yuji having stepped in the beginning and taking on Dabura doesn't cure her cancer. But if Yuji steps in and cures her cancer, that's just simply a plus. That means Yuji from the beginning was right. He gave the next generation a chance, and if Yuka lost, he not only saved her life, something that she would have died if he wasn't there, but he also would end up cleaning up after. And not only that, but if Yuji hadn't been the one to take on Dabura, Yuka would have never had that realization and beautiful moment in chapter 16 at the end, realizing how much she loved her brother and that beautiful inner acceptance of herself and wanting to be reborn. Everyone has grown because they're fighting. Like Maru has grown so much as a warrior, Tsurugi has really grown as a character, and even with Rika and even awakened. Yuka has had character development at the end with that final beautiful goodbye and acceptance even of her death. Dabura probably has grown the most in terms of combat and a character and warrior. None of that would have happened if Yuji just came in and one-shot Maru and one-shot Dabura. That would have not happened. That's the whole point of Yuji not stepping in right now, but it doesn't mean Yuji's just gonna let everybody die. Like he literally is saying, if they lose or if something bad happens, like I'll step up and I'll clean after. He literally does it in this chapter. Like the higher ups and Jujutsu Society fail in terms of cleaning up the cursed spirit, so Yuji steps in after the higher ups completely failed and in an instant completely took care of business. He took care of trouble so that there wouldn't be problems for society as a whole. What Yuji is doing is right. The whole point of him saying I don't care about being Itadori Yuji and letting the next generation have a chance, that is the correct choice. Like he is going in the right direction. Had Yuji just stepped in, nobody would have grown, nobody would have developed, and I don't even think anything would have resolved, honest to God. Yuji's not saying that he's not gonna get involved. Yuji's saying he wants to give a chance for the next generation to grow and to handle this themselves, and if they need a cushion, if they do fail, he will be there to clean up after. If Yuji just stepped in every time there's a problem, you know, every time there's a Honored One level threat, nobody would grow. They would just say, you know what, just give it to Itadori Yuji, he'll handle it. Tsurugi wouldn't grow, Yuka wouldn't grow, and even on the other side, Dabura and Maru wouldn't grow. The next generation would just stay weak. But now, if Yuji actually comes in, Yuka's cancer is going to be cured, and this is only after Tsurugi awakened and even unlocked Rika as well, and even Maru and Tsurugi had their inner conflict resolved as well. But I really don't like the way Yuji is being portrayed by the fans right now, that he's this asshole who's just letting everyone handle themselves or just letting everybody die. That's basically the way that you get the Gojo generation once again, where everybody's just coddled and looking up to Gojo. As a matter of fact, that definitely seems to have happened with Iori, his generation, like Yuta's children's generation, even generation after that, where the Yuta Maki Yuji generation was just so strong that it seems like the next generations after them were just incredibly weak, probably because they just took care of everything. Yuta, Akari, Maki, Takaba, Yuji, everybody just took care of it. And I think Yuji just doesn't want a repeat of that. He just wants to give these guys a chance to grow and become stronger. So please, don't think Yuji is wrong for misunderstanding Gojo's words. He actually understands it better than everybody. He wants people to forget about Yuji and not always keep saying, where is Itadori Yuji? Where is Itadori Yuji? I mean, literally, we have gotten this whole time during Modulo, every chapter has been, have you guys located Yuji? Are there any leads on Yuji? We really need Yuji right now to show the aliens the strength we have. We need Yuji for this battle. He has to be the one to step up. Literally, Yuji's point is proven through all of Modulo that they're just begging for him. Like, they have nobody who can even hope to take on Dabura. But now, after this fight, I mean, maybe you could have tamed Mahoraga. Maybe that's possible. Tsurugi's like got this Maki and Toji level speed. You know, characters are getting stronger because Yuji didn't step in from the beginning. So I do hope you guys stop saying Yuji has become this bad character, or he's just letting teenagers die. He literally said in this chapter, like, he will save everybody if need to be, and he already started with cleaning up the mess of the higher ups. Like, he's not just sitting on his ass. This guy just doesn't want a repeat of what happened with Gojo. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to leave a like on the video, it helps out so much. Thank you very much. And of course, if you have not already, be sure to subscribe for a ton of consistent and quality Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo content just like this. If you love JJK Modulo, I promise you, you're not gonna regret subscribing. But that's all from me. Have a great day, guys, and take care, everyone. And of course, shout out Corey G, the special grade member of the channel.